Hey guys, it's Lord-Arcanum Ross here, and today we're going to be showing you how to paint Lord-Arcanum Astreia Solbright. So basically I have a fully assembled model without glue, except it's taken off its base just for a bit of ease when it comes to painting, and we'll be focusing on the Dracoline to start off with, instead of the base or the rider itself. So let's get right on into it. So guys, to start off with, we will be base coating the Dracoline miniature. Keep in mind that this is not an official paint scheme of any sort, and I am partially making this up as I go along, but we'll be starting off with Mechanicus Standard Grey, and yeah, normal, watered down sort of thing. Basically, you're just going for the Dracoline areas of the miniature. So, skin here, the tail, the legs, yeah, it's all pretty simple stuff. Yeah, so all you need to do is colour all of that area. The reason I've kept it off the base here is so I can do the underbelly much easier, because I hate having to play around like that, and it doesn't really matter if you get it on any other parts at this stage. So yeah, just get right on into it. And so the Mechanicus Standard Grey is complete. Later on I will remember to do the corresponding foot and the base, but for now I'm just going to forge ahead, and we are going to push on to Administratum Grey. But quickly, the reason this is off the base is it makes it a lot easier to get to the underside of the model, so I would recommend doing that. And other than that, yeah, we'll be using this as sort of a dry brushy, sort of. Okay, let's get on to it. So here we are with the Administratum Grey on our palette, and basically we'll be taking some of it off using a tissue as you would a dry brush, but this is going to be a bit of a heavy dry brush here, I'm hoping. Again, this is a very random personal colour scheme, and what we'll be doing is just going over all of the more skin areas, sort of like that. So we'll also be going over the end of the tail, lower legs, and there-ish. Alright guys, so here we are, we've finished with the Administratum Grey, so bit of trial and error here. We built up over a long time with that sort of dry brushing thing, and then we went over it with a more even layer to finish, and I might go over it a little bit more, maybe, but we'll see. If so, I'll do it in between camera shots. Basically, next up we've got to do some shade, and this Dracoline is going to look a bit bluer than some of what I've seen. So we're going to use some Drakenhof Nightshade, basically. So what you'll be doing is quite a lot of shade at the top, and then as we get lower we'll be doing less and less, and then just working it into the little recesses that you can see there. So let's get right on into it. So guys, the Drakenhof Nightshade is still drying up the top, but basically done. It's basically all over the Dracoline flesh, and I'm hoping it turns out good. It might turn out terribly, but at the moment it is looking decent. It darkens the paint down a lot, and what we'll be doing next is getting some Fenrizian Grey and doing some small highlights on muscles and things. So yeah, we'll just be using basically as small as possible brush, and going over some very small details on the legs and forelimbs mainly. But yeah, other than that, we're going good. Now that those small details are complete, we're going to move along and get some Stegadon Scale Green for the top scales on the miniature. and basically just do the scales. And so the Stegodon scale green has been completed on the Dracoline. I've also done all the small scales, and so far we're getting a very mottled, sort of different look to what you can see on box art and things. But the idea here is that the rider will stand out a lot, being all clean and tidy. And so guys, the next colour that we will be doing is again on the scales, a dry brush of Lauren Forest. And this will be on the spiny scales as well as the just little scales on the Dracoline. And the Dracoline, I think it's doing pretty well now. We just need to make it less messy. I'm sort of still really thinking through things. And this needs to be a very light dry brush here because the colour will stand out quite a bit. And then it's just a simple matter of having a decent brush in the first place and having a decent amount of paint on your brush, neither of which I'm really conforming to here, but I just want to give these scales a green edge to them, just to sort of make them stand out from the blue and detract from the results of the Drakenhof Nightshade, which did it did some interesting things. I wasn't really expecting to do as much as it did. I think I may have gone a bit too heavy there. But basically, you're just doing that over the spines, and then a similar thing over the scales. So now that that is complete and there's a green tinting to all of our slightly less green scales, we're going to do a light dry brush of Fenrisian Grey. Still trying to lighten up my paint scheme here, as I said at the start-ish. This is an experimental sort of thing. We are getting close-ish to finished on the Dracoline here. But yeah, you should go, I'm thinking, sort of a normal medium dry brush. Oh, that was a bit too heavy. Yeah, and then we'll be getting onto other parts of the miniature soon. Yeah, so basically just dry brush all of the blue. Now that we have finished with Fenrisian Grey, I'm going to use some Screaming Skulls and just try to lightly go over the teeth of the Dracoline. Not like that, much too heavy. So, as always, I'm going to have to revise and do a bit of recovery work. But other than that, we're going decently enough. Probably shouldn't even be bothering to paint there. But yeah, so after this, there's not that much left to do on the Dracoline itself. We'll be moving on to other parts of the miniature, but there's still a bit to do. So yeah, we'll revise that and then show you the teeth. So we're quickly going to do a bit of like the maw, I think you might call it, inside his mouth in Wazdaka Red. So we finished up with the maw here, and now we're going to do the claws. Now for this I'm thinking we're going to start off with some Lead Belcher, And then we're going to try to make that less silver with some Administratum Grey. Now that the lead belcher is done, we're going to move on to the Administratum Grey to try to darken that down. Now that we've finished with that, we're going to move on to Abaddon Black and paint all the straps, the eye, and the saddle. And after all the black straps and eye are done, we're moving on to Retributor Armor for the metallics in between the straps. And with that gold done, the Dracoline model is complete for now. I might have forgotten something. Side note, I have done the feet here, just the way I've done the rest of the Dracoline. And now, you could call it here if you're playing a Storm Host other than the Hammers of Sigmar and using this as just a Lord-Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline. But this is Hammers of Sigmar Storm Host, and we will continue on. The first thing we'll be doing is base coating the main armor of the miniature in Retributor Gold. Armor, gold, same thing. So now that we've done the Retributor armor, we are moving on to Cantor Blue for the cape, some bits on the shoulder plates, and yeah, basically your normal areas on the model. And so after your Cantor Blue has finished drying, you're going pretty well. Next, what we're going to use is Wasdaka Red, I think it is. Yeah, Wasdaka Red. And we'll just be doing some little areas here and his plume. Also his saddle thingy bob. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing now. Alright, so now that that's done, side note, I forgot to tell you, do the weapon handles. Now we're going to do, I think it's Carroburg Crimson on all the red other than those handles. We're going to do a different shade on them. And after your Carroburg Crimson has finished drying, move on to Seraphim Sepia for the gold armor. And after that, what you're going to want to do is use some lead belcher for all the metallics on the miniature, including the scabbardy swordy bit and the weapon. Next up, we're going to do Screaming Skulls in 3 places, the 2 pieces of parchment on her back, and the book pages on one of her sides, the left side. So just do that pretty well. 2 thin coats should be best. After that, we're going to shade the parchment and weapon halves in Agrak's Earth Shade. So we're going to do her side bags and bottles in Abaddon Black. While that is drying, I am deciding to do the spirit flasks. She has 2, I think, on her body. 1 in her hand and 1 on her waist. What we're going to do for these is a base of warpstone glow and then some edge highlights of moot green. While you're at it, I recommend to do the gems at the tip of her weapon. And with that done and a few little touch-ups such as the shoulder plate and the caps of bottles and flasks, the main part of the miniature is done, and we'll move on to the base. So now that the main model has been completed, it's time to do the base. For this, I suggest assembling it into these 2 parts, so you can do the underside and top side of these pieces better. And for this, we're again going to start with the base coat of Mechanicus Standard Grey. And once the Mechanicus Standard Grey is dried, start doing some stippling with Administratum Grey. Stippling is basically just where you get a brush and you dip it in some paint, get a small amount of paint on it, and then just stab it into the miniature. And yeah, just stipple all over the bricks and stone areas on both pieces. After that, paint the parts of the fallen statue in straight Administratum Grey. As it dries, now I think we're going to do the grass/gravel around the base here. So I'm going to paint this as grass because it would go as grass, and that's the rest of my army as grass. So I'm going to be using, basically you can do any greens you want, but I'm thinking War Flesh and Caliban and Lauren. Am I Colonel? Actually, War Flesh, Lauren, and maybe a tinge of Elysian, we'll see. So start off by doing it in wild flesh. After that's complete, add in the frontal bit and wash the entire base with Agrax Earthshade. After that, paint the small leaves on the miniature and lightly dry brush the grass with Lauren Forest. Once that step is complete, get your Caliban green and paint all the little vine tree pieces that you can see on the base. Once that is complete, get Screaming Skulls and do the one little skull in the back of the base there. Note, I think its jaw is hanging out, so you might want to do that as well. It is different. As that's drying, use a lead belcher to paint the chain of this, I don't really know what that is, symbol. After that, paint the lightning bolt symbol gold. After that, Agrax Earthshade on the skull, reassemble the miniature, and it's complete. Finish that up, paint the rim of the base in Abaddon black, and then you are complete. That concludes the painting glide for Astreia Solbright. If you want to see more of these for the Sigmar or 40k, leave a like, subscribe, and a comment below. See you in the next video.